It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Our regular feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law is back. It's called So Now What? And as we navigate the ensuing COVID-19 storm, it has hit us, according to our president, and we're going to get through it together. We have called upon the legal guidance of our friend and expert in law, Director at Legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern. Eitan
is back here, and today's question is, I am trying to continue with the new normal amidst the changing lockdown regulations. So now what? We'll be taking a look at the legal side of working and living in this rapidly changing era. Eitan, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Really a pleasure. Just a pity I'm not back with you guys in studio.
Ah, man, that sucks. But here you are, still just shedding that legal detail that we live off of.
So as was announced by President Ramaphosa this past Sunday night, we are all forging full steam ahead while exercising as much caution as possible. So here's the big question. Are we actually allowed to refuse to go back into the workplace at this time?
So it's interesting. The first thing we need to consider is what is your contractual duty with your employer? And as an employee, the primary duty that you have with a job is to tender your services. So basically to do your job. On the other hand, in South Africa, we've got very protective labour rights. And so we've got what's called the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and that requires all employers to make sure that their workspace is safe for all employees to go to work in. So in general terms, an employer always has the duty to make sure that anyone coming to work is safe to do so. Now, during COVID, things get even more complex. And the Minister of Labour, they issued a directive a directive for COVID-19, according to the Health and Safety Act. And these directives set out measures that employers and employees have to adhere to ensure that the working environment is safe and healthy during the pandemic. So the answer to the question is, can someone refuse to go to work? In general, no, because your job is to do what your employer asks you to do. But if you can prove that your employer hasn't taken the requisite steps to make sure that your office or your workspace is safe to go to work to, and that you're not going to get sick to a reasonable standard, that you're not going to get sick if you go to work, then you could refuse to go to work. But just keep in mind that if you did that, you could still get fired, but then you could approach the CCMA or the labor inspector in order to look into the matter. So, you know, if the environment is safe, have to go to work, but if it's not safe, then you might be able to refuse.
So, Eitan, what can we do then if a colleague gets sick, for example, in our company, and our company doesn't force them to stay at home?
Okay, so keep in mind the same answer as before. The employer has a duty to keep the workspace safe for all employees. And because of this duty, the employer has a duty to ask a sick employee or someone who's got a sickness such as COVID not to come to work. But not only that, but the infected employee also has a duty to refuse to come into work because they also have to contribute to keeping the workspace safe. So if an employee refuses to comply, then it could be considered serious misconduct and it could cause serious damage to the company and the employees. And if that employer refuses to ask the employee to stay at home, then once again, you could report that company to the labour inspector.
Okay, well, let's extrapolate that then a little bit further. So let's say you're running a business and one of your employees does get infected with COVID-19 on the premises and is then obviously adversely affected, needing expensive medical treatment. Can their family or that individual hold the employer liable for their expenses?
Okay, cool. This is really interesting, super relevant, and also something that's quite certain in our law. So we've got this act called COIDA, which is the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Disease Act, and it's been in our law since the 90s. And what COIDA says is that if you get sick or get harmed while doing your job, you do not have a right to claim against your employer for occupational injury or disease at work. But that doesn't leave the employee without options. They can't claim from the employer, but there is a COIDA compensation fund which they can claim from. And I'm not going to go through the whole procedure now, but notice on what an employee has to do if they get COVID at work. They can claim from this fund and hopefully get up in the fund, and the employer will help them kind of fill out that paperwork, and that's all available. But in general, everything that we've spoken about today it's quite topical. It can be a little bit complex. So if you're in trouble with this sort of stuff, go speak to whether you're an employer or an employee. Go approach a labour lawyer. I know at Legalese we've been really busy since COVID started dealing with these issues. So there's lots of help out there. There's labour inspectors, there's labour lawyers who you can approach for assistance with this.
Ooh, there definitely is a lot that we need to be rethinking and looking at now as we try to navigate the legal space and how we're working in the new normal. But we'll be back in a moment figuring out, so now what, with lawyer Eitan Stern.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
You're with your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, here on SABC3. Good morning. Now we're continuing our discussion with lawyer and director at legalese.co.za. It's Eitan Stern as we take a look at the legal side of working and living in this rapidly changing era of COVID-19. Eitan, good morning. Welcome back again.
Good to still be here.
All right, let's get into some very tricky waters now. We've obviously seen a lot of legal back and forth between the various parties involved in the manufacturing and distribution of tobacco and alcohol, and obviously our government. So we understand the government's main concern is about public health, but should the courts rule in favor of the companies, what could that outcome be?
Yes, this is a really interesting thing to understand, and you know, if there's one advantage of the situation is that we're all starting to really interact with the way that our legal system works. So it's government's job to make laws, but it's the court's job to have oversight over the government. And this is called a separation of powers. And we have these sorts of rules because we have a history of government abuse in South Africa under apartheid. So now all power is kept in check by some other power. So if the government makes a rule and courts deem that rule to be illegal or unconstitutional, they can strike it down. And that's what would happen, say, with the cigarette ban if the companies had to win. But, and this is really the beautiful part of our system, while the courts can strike down the rules, they must be careful not to do the government's job in making rules, because that's outside of their power. So what they would do is say this rule is invalid, and they would then give the government a certain period of time in order to make new rules that would be valid. And that's what we saw with the previous case involving the level 3 regulations. So we're all just going to have to wait and see what happens and how this whole thing plays out with cigarettes as well.
So as we saw on social media, I think during and directly after the president's address, people are getting quite frustrated with the constant changes and all these limitations that we're hearing of.
With immediate effect.
You know what I mean, with immediate effect. But what is the importance of setting those frustrations aside and really following our government's advisory to mitigate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on our healthcare system and, I suppose, our economy as a result?
Okay. So I guess, and this is a personal opinion, I think the thing to remember here is that the bad guy in this is the pandemic. And no matter how hard our jobs are, I can only imagine how hard governing a country during a pandemic must be. So we can be frustrated at the rules, but for the most part, the rules are there to keep us safe and prevent us getting sick. We should rather be frustrated at the virus. That all being said, a crucial aspect of government is that it has to be in the best interest of the country and that the rules have to be rational. So where people can be frustrated is where they feel the government isn't acting in our best interest, say through corruption or political infighting, or where the rules are not rational. And where we feel that's the case, we need to speak up, because that's our job in a democracy. We need to speak truth to power. That's where we fit into the checking on power. But if you're upset about alcohol, or not being able to buy booze, or that you can't go to your favorite restaurants, maybe it's just sucking it up and relaxing until the pandemic is over.
Suck it up, princess.
I think we have to also, through all of this, I think, consider the repercussions economically for those restaurants and those people who are affected. On the flip side of it, it is very tricky water. So thank you so much for helping us unpack it just a little bit. And I'm glad that at least some small silver lining that, as you say, people are learning more about how our legal system works. So hopefully you have tons of people after this phoning you and nagging you with burning questions. But Eitan, always great to connect with you. Hopefully you can stay safe through all of this craziness as well.
The best, guys. See you soon.
Fantastic. Eitan Stern, our friend in law. But as we grapple with business unusual, let's remember that our chief objective here is to keep everyone as safe as possible and as healthy as possible.